While the world watches China and India, an Asian country is quietly growing in such an impressive way that it may surprise even the most experienced analysts. Vietnam, the one many still associate only with memories of war, is transforming into an economic power that could redefine the Asian balance. The truth is, while you were distracted, the Vietnamese were building one of the fastest-growing economies on the planet. The geography of this transformation reveals facts that go far beyond what the media reports. Giants like Samsung and Intel didn't choose Vietnam by chance. They identified something that most people still haven't noticed. Asia is changing, and a new power is emerging right under our noses. If you want to understand how a country rises from the ashes and becomes a global player in 3 decades, get ready to uncover secrets about Vietnam's rise that could change your perspective on the global economic future. One of the most impressive facts about Vietnam is how it managed to rise from the ashes to become one of the fastest-growing economies in Asia. 50 years ago, it was ravaged by war, but today it boasts growth rates that rival those of established global powers. Geography played a crucial role, as the country skillfully leveraged its unique position in Southeast Asia to completely reinvent itself. It's like turning pain into fuel for an extraordinary economic rebirth. Few countries have pulled off such a dramatic and successful turnaround. The secret lies in Vietnam's ability to turn adversity into opportunity. Between 1990 and 2020, its GDP grew at an average annual rate of 6.5%, placing Vietnam among the most promising Asian tigers. If you had invested in Vietnamese companies in the early 2000s, you likely would have multiplied your capital several times over. The transformation was so radical that economists consider Vietnam one of the greatest success stories of modern economic development. Figures that seem to defy conventional logic have become reality. What's most impressive isn't just the numbers, but the speed of this change. In just a few decades, Vietnam shifted from a closed, agricultural economy to a globally connected industrial hub, revealing much about the Vietnamese national character. While other Asian nations have faced economic bubbles and severe recessions, Vietnam has maintained a surprisingly steady upward trajectory. That stability is no coincidence, but the result of a carefully planned strategy executed with precision. Asia has seen many examples of growth, but few have sustained such consistency for so long. Vietnam's geography is undoubtedly one of its greatest competitive advantages, and many still don't realize how strategic this location is. Positioned in the heart of Southeast Asia, the country acts as a natural bridge between China and the rest of the region, capitalizing on the billions of dollars in trade that pass through its borders daily. One of the most fascinating facts is that Vietnam has over 3,400 kilometers of coastline, offering direct access to the South China Sea, one of the busiest maritime routes in the world. It's like having a VIP ticket to the biggest economic show in Asia, where trillions of dollars in goods move annually. This privileged position is not just geographical luck, but a strategic asset that the country has learned to monetize brilliantly. What makes this location even more valuable is its proximity to Asia's massive consumer markets. Imagine being just a few hours by plane or days of sailing away from countries like China, Japan, South Korea, and Thailand, markets that together represent over 2 billion consumers. For multinational companies, establishing operations in Vietnam means easy access to these markets without the high costs of other countries in the region. For instance, giants like Samsung and Intel have chosen Vietnam not only for its lower costs but primarily for the logistical ease of distributing products throughout Asia. It's a geography that works in favor of business, creating efficiencies that translate directly into global competitiveness. Moreover, Vietnam benefits from one of the most important trade routes on the planet, known as the Greater Mekong Economic Corridor. This region connects 6 Asian countries and facilitates the trade of hundreds of billions of dollars annually, placing Vietnam at the epicenter of these transactions. The interesting part is that many people don't know that about 25% of global trade passes through waters near Vietnam, making the country a nearly obligatory stop for international supply chains. Asia is becoming the world's economic center, and Vietnam is positioned exactly where this transformation is happening most intensively. This privileged geography is like owning property in the best neighborhood of the city when the market is booming. Vietnam is experiencing an industrial revolution that few countries have managed to achieve in such a short time, and one of the most impressive facts is how it has attracted global tech giants. Companies like Samsung, which manufactures about 50% of its smartphones globally in Vietnam, have transformed the country into one of the largest exporters of electronic products in Asia. Favorable geography and competitive costs created the perfect environment for this manufacturing boom, but the real differentiator lies in the quality of the Vietnamese workforce. It's like watching an industrial symphony where each sector finds its perfect rhythm for growth. The transformation was so rapid that today, Vietnam competes directly with China in various technological sectors. To give you a practical sense of the magnitude of this transformation, Vietnam's textile sector is now the second largest global exporter, supplying brands like Nike, Adidas, and Zara. Intel invested over $1.5 billion in a semiconductor factory in the country, showing that it's not just about basic manufacturing, but advanced technology. When major corporations make investments of this magnitude, it's because they've identified something special in the local production capacity. What's interesting is that these companies didn't choose Vietnam just for its low costs, but for the unique combination of efficiency, quality, and strategic location in Asia. It's an industrial ecosystem that feeds back into itself and grows exponentially. What impresses experts the most is the speed at which Vietnam is climbing the technological value chain. While many Asian countries have remained stuck in the trap of low value-added manufacturing, the Vietnamese are quickly migrating to more sophisticated sectors. Local companies like VinFast are developing electric cars to compete globally, and Vietnamese tech startups are attracting millions in investments. The fascinating part is that this transition usually takes decades, but Vietnam is achieving in years what others have taken generations to do. Asia is witnessing the rise of a new tech tiger, and the country's strategic geography is facilitating this meteoric ascent. Vietnam has become a magnet for foreign investments in a way that even the most experienced analysts in Asia find surprising. One of the most striking facts is that the country received over $38 billion in foreign direct investment in 2022 alone, placing it among the most sought-after destinations in the world. Its strategic geography combined with smart government policies has created an environment where multinational corporations see opportunities that they don't find elsewhere. It's as if Vietnam has discovered the secret formula to consistently and steadily attract global capital. International entrepreneurs aren't just testing the Vietnamese market, they're making long-term bets with billion-dollar investments. To understand the magnitude of this attraction, giants like Foxconn have moved entire production lines from China to Vietnam, investing over $270 million in new factories. LG also announced investments of $1.4 billion in an electric vehicle battery plant, showing that the country is attracting high-tech sectors. When you see companies of this scale making such significant strategic moves, it's because they've identified potential that goes far beyond just low costs. What's interesting is that these investments create a domino effect, attracting suppliers and support companies that strengthen the entire economic ecosystem. Asia is reshaping its production chains, and Vietnam is positioning itself at the center of this transformation. What makes this investment attraction even more impressive is the sectoral diversification that is taking place. It's not just traditional manufacturing. Sectors like renewable energy, biotechnology, and digital financial services are also establishing operations in the country. International private equity funds are heavily investing in Vietnamese startups, recognizing the potential for explosive growth. The interesting part is that many of these investors report returns higher than those obtained in more mature markets in the region. Favorable geography and a stable regulatory environment have created conditions where international capital not only enters but multiplies quickly. It's a virtuous cycle that is turning Vietnam into the preferred destination for those seeking growth opportunities in Asia. The future of Vietnam seems even more promising than its impressive present, and economic projections reveal facts that few could imagine about the potential of this Asian country. Economists from the World Bank project that Vietnam could become one of the 5 largest economies in Asia by 2035, an extraordinary leap considering its current position. The country's youthful geography, with more than 60% of its population under the age of 35, creates a unique demographic window that could sustain decades of accelerated growth. It's like having an economic engine that is just starting to warm up, with enough fuel for a long and prosperous journey. International analysts are not just optimistic, they are genuinely excited about the possibilities they see on Vietnam's horizon. To give you a practical sense of these projections, Vietnam's GDP per capita could triple in the next 15 years, according to studies by McKinsey & Company, placing millions of Vietnamese people in the emerging middle class. This means an internal consumer market of over 100 million people with growing purchasing power, an opportunity that major global brands are already anticipating. Companies like Coca-Cola and Unilever are aggressively expanding their operations in the country, betting that Vietnamese consumers will become a significant economic force in Asia. The interesting part is that this socio-economic transformation is happening at an accelerated pace, creating business opportunities that arise and develop in a matter of years, not decades. Companies like Samsung, the most fascinating aspect about Vietnam's future is how the country is positioning itself to be a relevant player in the global digital one of the largest exporters of electronic investments in 5G infrastructure, favorable geography and competitive and green technologies are laying the groundwork for this manufacturing not only be a manufacturer, but the real differentiator lies in the quality of the Vietnamese workforce. The Vietnamese government has set ambitious goals to become an industrialized nation by 2030, and current indicators suggest that this target is not only achievable but conservative. The strategic geography combined with a young and educated population is creating perfect conditions for Vietnam to surprise the world once again. The Asia of the future will have a new protagonist, and the seeds of this transformation are already sprouting in the fertile ground of Vietnam's ambition. Now you know the secrets of Vietnam's rise that most people ignore. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? While others remain oblivious to this silent transformation in Asia, you could be ahead of this change. The facts about Vietnam are not just information, they are insights that could influence your investment decisions, career, and perspective on global economic geography. If you had this information 10 years ago and acted on it, where would you be today? Vietnam proves that it's possible to rewrite destiny in just a few decades, so imagine what you could achieve by applying this mindset of accelerated growth. The question isn't whether Vietnam will become an Asian power, it's whether you will ride this wave or watch from afar. The next decade will be crucial for those who understand these changes. How about studying emerging Asian markets or considering opportunities that connect your reality with this rising power? If this content opened your eyes, give it a like, share it with someone who needs to know, and subscribe to the channel by turning on notifications. Vietnam is just the beginning of silent transformations happening around the world, and you won't want to miss any of them.